Hi everybody, I'm Dov.
I'm Nicole.
And we are Twin Flame Revolution. We're so excited to see you guys today and have you see another episode of our TF Raw Revolution at Work series, where we talk about our stories, our experiences, and how our work, the work, right? So if you haven't seen that video, you guys should go check it out, the work, how the work has changed our life and how we use it in our life to create this conscious revolution of love.
Yes.
We are motivational speakers, conscious mentors, and energy healers. We help people to be the most reminded version of themselves, right? Being able to be in your full remembrance of your full power. You are not broken. You are not crazy, and you do not need to be fixed. Although we use the word healer, you don't need to be healed. You are amazing. So that message needs to be said to you guys right now, obviously, because it's coming out. So today we're going to be talking about something that's actually very important. We're going to be talking about how lack mentality and lack programming affected our union, affected our reunion, and how is really creating a lot of separation in your life, and how they're all interconnected. So when Nicole and I work, we are able to look at how everything is actually fully interconnected. Nothing is separated. So when you come into, speaking with us, or I look at a situation in my life or somebody else's life, I don't look at the one thing in isolation. So a lot of people think, well, how would my lack mentality, my upbringing, my ancestry, my belief systems around things like finances or self-worth or receivership, how is that going to affect whether or not I am able to have a good relationship with my sacred union or twin flame, and how is that related? And the thing is that they're all related because they all cycle back to a root, right? And they all cycle back to a particular instant, past or present life, and that instant is going to then create a spider web of reaction, symptoms, and effects. So the number one thing that I want to start out by saying is getting us clear around lack mentality programming, not receiving, not being able to receive, and really how that energy, right, that program, and I use the word program because we know better, right?
Yes.
As souls, we know better. We know that we are connected to all things. We know that we are one with all things, that we are never in separation, that we never really have that pull, that separation from source, the universe, this beautiful woman next to me.
Ooh,
we don't have that separation, right? But in our experience, we become programmed through the belief system of our environment, through the belief system of our ancestry, through our own experiences, traumas, right? And those create these big imprints and these big impacts. And those energies bring us into this idea, right? And we're talking about this because Nicole and I both grew up in a version of this. And we're going to talk about that in a moment, how it impacted us in our union. And, we grew up with these different versions. And so what I realized, and what we realize in others all the time, is that when you are in this feeling of lack, you are in a feeling of separatedness. And when we are in that feeling of separation and being separate, we are actually separate from self. We are separate from source, from God, the universe, whatever you're comfortable with. You are separate from your twin, your sacred love, right? And so you're in this energy, and that separated feeling creates more lack, and that lack creates more separation, and you become misaligned. So when we talk about this energy of alignment, you become more and more misaligned. And so all of these things, they're just indicators. They're just indicators to let us know whether we are in that space of alignment or not. And I know that all of you watching want to be connected to self, want to be connected to source, want to be in that energy of alignment, right? And so I'm going to invite you guys to already now, right? So when Nicole and I are doing, our videos on Facebook, and we're doing our sermons. So if you guys have not seen that before, and if you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're liking this, share it with your friends. Make sure you stay tuned, stay connected. And if you're not on our Facebook and you have Facebook, head on over there because we have so much stuff as well. When we're doing these things, we invite people to release it. And as you're listening to this and you're becoming aware of it, you already are halfway there. You're halfway to being able to understand that you actually can start to release this. And it's a big one, and it affects us in big ways.
Yeah, so I always like to bring us back to like some truth, right? So when Dov was talking about programming, the programming really just kind of breaks through and infects the truth. It's like a virus in your computer, right? If we were a computer system, these blocks are just like this virus that is mutating something that we're not seeing. I wasn't seeing, man. I was like in lack in every aspect of my life. I didn't think I could create what I wanted. I thought there were certain ways to create it, and I didn't think that I was capable of doing that. I mean, it went on and on and on, but the truth is that the law of attraction and the law of love basically states that whatever it is that you want to create, you have access to creating. We're creating our reality at every moment. We have the essence of creation within us, right? If you go outside right now and you look around at the trees and the birds and like all these beautiful things that were created, that essence is within you.
Yes.
But we grow up and we get damaged and we believe things that are not exactly true, right? Like for me, I remember my parents, they had to work really hard. They didn't go to college. They had to work really hard to make money. That was their truth. They did it. I'm so proud of them. Like they worked 3 jobs, right? So for me, it was like I have to kill myself to make money. That was a program.
Yes.
Right? It was like I have to and then the next program was, and for many of you, you really want to go to college. There's a lot of you that want to get your PhD. And like for those that if that's something that drives you, I am not talking about that right now. What I am talking about is that I believe that I had to have those certain things to be able to serve. I thought that I had to do that to be able to create what I wanted. I believed, and at the time, I was having such a hard time with that in my life that I was like, you know what? I can't have anything. I can't do that. I can't create that. And so it continued on and on where I went into the darkest night of my life, the dark night of the soul, to where my ego had to die and I had to come back to my power. And I was completely broken in that, to come back to this state. And then when I got with Dov, when we got hooked up, when I got with this beautiful woman, I was faced with all this because the polarization kept coming in and then it kept pulling away because of all these beliefs. And when we are in lack, it just repels the other. It's like you guys want to be so close and you're going like this and they're like, why did he ghost me? Why did she ghost me? Because the energies, we're not allowing it to happen. Even just the fear of them leaving you causes this friction. You're not willing to receive. And sometimes we're like, you don't love me, you don't love me, you don't love me. It's like, no, you don't love you. You're not allowing that love in. Right? And so, I just wanted to talk about that aspect. And
100%. You know, when I was thinking about it, I was feeling some of your questions out there already. Like I'm feeling you guys because we feel you guys all the time. And Nicole was talking, and I was thinking about all of these different ways that this impacted us, right? So a lot of you, what came up when Nicole was speaking is I heard the word mission, right? So remembering you guys as twins. Right? So if you haven't seen our video on remembering that you're a twin, right? There's so many videos we have made, why it's important to protect it, why twins get attacked, all of these things. Go check it out because you are this powerful, amazing being that's here to express who you are, to express yourself, right? And in order to be in that full self-expression means connected alignment, right? So we have to look at all the areas. We can't ignore one area. We have to look at all the areas that keep us out of that abundant state. Out of that state, for me, abundance is aligned energy. It is your partner being able to communicate with you and be with you, your peace of mind, your health in your body, right? And for me, a lot of times people bring up, finances around abundance, but finances are simply the flow of energy.
Yes.
So I tell people all the time, I say, if there is a block there, then you know that is where something is stuck in your pipe. Right? And that is a programming, and that is all those things, and all of that the finances are in your life are symptoms, right? Just the same as when somebody comes to us and they have, they struggle with addiction. Nicole has worked so many years, and she realized so much that it was a symptom.
Yep.
A symptom of trauma, a symptom of abuse, a symptom of separation, all of those things, right? And so being able to bring yourself back, you guys, I know, want to serve in your own way, whatever that way is, and all it means to serve is to be who you are, right? And the thing is that I say it all the time, how can we be of service when you are in a state of survival? in a state of lack, right? And how can we even form this relationship, right? This relationship that needs so much time and so much love when we're in a place of survival. I couldn't show up. I couldn't show up with Nicole because I lived in a state of survival, crisis after crisis. And for us, it wasn't just about the lack mentality, but in a way it was, because lack mentality is not limited to finance, right? It's not limited to financial lack. It's expansive. My lack mentality is we're not going to get out of this cycle. My lack mentality is I don't have any power. My lack mentality is I can't create the reality that I want. My lack mentality was I will never be what I want to be. My lack mentality is I'm not worthy. My lack mentality was that person can have it, but I can't have it. All of these self-defeating prophecies and these ideas of being separate, misaligned, and out of what we want to create. And that was affecting and damaging my relationship. So many ways.
Oh my goodness. I love, you guys heard me say thank you when she was speaking, because she'll say things and my whole spirit just is like, yes. So maybe you had that moment too. So your second chakra is the second lowest vibration chakra in your system. There is density there. There is connection with sex. There is connection with creation. There is connection with finances in this area. Right? So when something is low frequency, that means that we have to bring so much more frequency into that space to understand it. We get stuck there, right? We don't see it. I'm saying all of this because it's all connected.
Yes.
Dov said that earlier. These things are very much connected. I mess around all the time. I say my second chakra is my Las Vegas chakra. Sex and money, baby. Which says a lot. Like, if we're not willing to receive a thanks, if we're not willing to receive money, are we going to be willing to receive our partner?
Yeah.
It's all this movement, this circuitry of giving and receiving, being willing. I mean, that's the part that some of us really lack, is that receive. To be able to allow ourselves to let the universe bless the hell out of you. Because the thing about the universe is it wants to bless you at every turn. Miracles are not like just 1 in a millionth. It is an everyday thing in my life. I just expect them now. I walk out of my house, I'm like, please show me some good today, because I know you're going to show me something amazing. I wake up, and all of a sudden I have this little tiny, like this morning I had this little tiny breakthrough that ended up becoming one of my biggest breakthroughs, because I saw how deep our love runs, right? So allowing yourself to expand your mind to the fact that you can create whatever it is that you want. And at this moment, there are a lot of things that stop us from that. Like, maybe some of you created great lives and then it was gone. That's painful. That's hard to come up from. The fear of maybe in a past life, you were king or queen. You got killed for being that. Maybe you got killed for being like this amazing person and showing all this love, and you lost your life over it. And all of a sudden you come into this life and you start creating and you're like, no, I'm not going there. I've seen it time and time again. Maybe you haven't created anything great in your life that you think was great. And maybe you're stuck in this mentality of like, I'll never have what I want. I was there, deep in there. And then I kept showing myself that I was there. And I kept creating the same thing over and over because I didn't know that there was something out there. I didn't understand the power and the law that we are in. We are in these beautiful divine laws of love that trump everything. It trumps your beliefs that aren't aligned with source. It trumps it all. You have access to that at every moment. If you just say, oh shoot, like I really want to connect with that. What does that mean? Right? I had to ask a bunch of questions in my life, and then I had to shut my mouth and listen. Because I was always asking a bunch of questions to God, and I never sat with it enough to listen and to watch and to see that the answers kept coming from. For a lot of you, you ask a lot of questions about your twin, and you get signs. You'll get like 10 signs, and then all of a sudden they're not in your life, and you're like, well, that's bull crap, right? How many times have we done that, right? We're like, I know because I know that that's my twin, and I know when we're supposed to be here, and then all of a sudden they're gone, and you're like, this twin flame shit, I don't want to do this anymore. We've all been there. So I'm not making fun of anyone. I'm actually making fun of Dov and I, because we have been there. I don't know if Dov's actually been on that one. Dov has held that vision this whole time. She's never let go of that vision, even though everyone, except for her mother, I was gonna say everyone and her mother, everyone except her mother, actually held that vision with her because she understood our connection very deeply. And so my wife did hold that intention, and she didn't stop holding that intention. So I just wanted to say that because
Thank you. That wasn't easy, but listening to self, right? And so actually, Nicole makes me think of something. Another thing that blocks us, when we're in that separated idea, we can't hear ourselves, right? So a lot of you come to us and we say, listen to yourself, listen to your higher self, listen to your heart, right? And that's where your answer is about certain things, especially related to who your twin is. And people come back with, I don't know how, I can't hear it. And the reason, because all those blocks, all those separations, all those programs, and that's why we have to take one at a time. And the lack mentality is a non-negotiable one.
Yes.
Right? It's a non-negotiable. And some of you out there have amazing practices and gifts and healings. And it is actually our responsibility to break that program. It's actually our responsibility to release ourselves of that. And I remember, going back, because, I promised that I would explain some of my story too. And so I grew up and down, amazing experiences in my family, from the most artistic and talented parents who were designers and incredible things, to moments where we had no electric, no food, and up and down, and lots of moments where I had to pull myself up. And I believed in hustle. I believed in working hard, really, really hard to create things. But let's break that down. I believed, because again, it's not just about money, I believed that things would come hard, right? That in order to get my goal, I had to work hard. Yep. You see, that doesn't just apply to the dollar you receive. It applies as a program to life. So for me to be with Nicole, it had to be hard work. To receive love had to be hard work. To be happy had to be hard work, because that was wired into me. That was programmed, right? I picked that up. I said one day, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to stand on my own feet. I'm going to hustle till I bleed. And I did. I was the best at that. By the time I was 16, I was already working 18-hour days on my feet. 18-hour days. 30-minute break, 18 hours. I did it every day, 7 days a week for 4 months, and then I almost couldn't get out of bed, right? But I kept that mentality, and I went through college with that mentality, and that mentality took me through law school, and that mentality took me, and I kept going with that mentality, but I wasn't receiving, I was getting in the way of receiving with grace and ease. I was getting in the way of receiving what I really wanted, and I had lots of caps on myself. Lots of caps on what Nicole and I could receive. And I wasn't receiving from her. I didn't believe we could live an abundant life. Although I remember some moments. I remember the first time I took her, out of the country when we first met. And I said, hey, there's a more beautiful world out there, right? Because I did have some of that. I've had the amazing privilege of living in like 14 different countries. And so that perspective changes a lot, right? But I still was stuck in that. And I believed that I really wasn't going to be able to. That mentality and my ancestral mentality also made me believe that when there was something exciting that might come in my life, that it wasn't going to come through, because exciting things didn't happen to me, right? Now, you can imagine how much this impacted our union. It impacted our union. My belief systems projected onto my life. As Nicole was saying, we're creating our reality all the time. It projected onto my reality, and guess what? It was hard work. And I'm not saying that twin flame relationship isn't hard work in general, but it was extra hard because of this lack mentality. It was extra hard because I had to be away from her tons and tons of hours where we needed to be together, or we couldn't afford to get the support that we needed to take care of ourselves, or to get the medical attention when we were sick, or all these things, because we were stuck in that. Yeah. We couldn't get what we deserved to have. We couldn't move out of that energy, and I couldn't have her be present with me because I didn't believe that those great things would happen. And I believed myself into it so much. That programming was so strong till we hit a wall where I had no job and Nicole left, right? And that's what I had created. And then I had to have my breakthroughs, and I had to have major transformation in my life. And I had to go through separation and know that I was worthy, and had to change that belief at all costs. At all costs. That this was no longer negotiable. That to be in alignment, I couldn't have that lack. I couldn't have that belief system that I wouldn't be able to receive, that I wouldn't be able to have what I wanted, that it could only happen to somebody else. I couldn't be in that, because the truth is that we are the only person stopping us all the time.
Yeah, wow. So I wanted to tackle one thing, materialism versus abundance, right? There's so much talk on this, and I really wanted to go there because sometimes people think like, well, if you are really truly abundant, then you're going to suffer because you have this material world that's maybe excessive to some, or whatever that is. And so we're like, we can't have that because there's suffering there. So I just want to explain my story with that, because it's really important to look at it. So for me, I remember my mom when I was 16, we were sitting there and she just was like, Nicole, you can have it all. And I remember the conversation, I think my dad might have been there too, and they're like, listen, this is what you gotta do, right? I love her, she's so cute, my mom. I do. She was like, you can have the car, you can have the big house, you can have the really hot woman, you can go to college, you play soccer, you go to, and she was like, you could have it all. And I remember like, that's gonna make you so happy. And whatever she meant to say, the translation in my head at 16 years old was, wow, if I have all that, I am going to be rich and happy, right? Yeah. Rich, just like feel good, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember I got the full ride scholarship. I remember I was dating a woman who rented me an apartment. She got me a new car. Like, she was hooking it up. I had a really good wardrobe, and dinner cooked every night, and my apartment was nice, and everything was there. It was all there. Everything that they said was there. And this was like one of my biggest initiations, like my breakthroughs, and I almost died because of it. I tried to take my own life. It was the first time I tried to take my own life because it did nothing for me. And when it did nothing for me, I was in so much pain, because that belief that would do something for me and that would make me happy destroyed my life. Right. My whole world came crumbling down. It was like my first big lie that just my whole being just couldn't understand. I went into meltdown, and I tried to take my life, and then from there I left school, so I lost my scholarship. And it just snowballed after that, because I didn't understand what was going to make me happy now.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Now, let's fast forward to today. My whole life I was living on the streets off and on. I am, with my addiction just spinning with that. I had really hard relationships because I just couldn't stay with them, and I couldn't be loved. I couldn't love fully. I didn't understand how to receive. I went from, job to job that I hated. Even when Dov and I got together, I created a business. It was very flourishing, but it wasn't what I wanted to do, so I felt dead inside. And then all of a sudden, Dov and I have like this huge breakthrough and figure out who the heck we are to each other. And then all of a sudden I go through all this transformation, and I am at a place where I understand that I can create whatever I want.
Yes.
I have no attachment to my car. Like, if like God came down and was like, I'm taking everything away except for like your relationship with people, I would be like, please take it. I don't care, because all that matters to me is like, if my house was burning down, is picking this little thing up, picking my other dog up, and my wife, and that is it. So there's no attachment to the material, but I do have those things. I have a beautiful home right now. I have my car. I have food that I am so grateful for. Like, I have money to pay for my internet so that I can show up with you. You know what I mean? I have money to pay my bills because like I'm paying off debt, and I'm almost, like I'm doing those things so that I can be in a place, because life is really uncomfortable sometimes. And that's one part. If you look at why people get divorced, and you look at why people like are struggling, it's this, people are on this freaking thing. I was on this roller coaster ride, couldn't get off, because every other day I was worrying about how I was going to pay my bills and how I was going to and all of a sudden there's this freedom that comes with not just the money, but the emotional abundance right? All of this is connected. The mental, mastering your mind, mastering your emotions, mastering being able to take all of these things in your life and be able to create this beautiful picture. So what I wanted to do was take away this program of guilt for having.
Yeah.
And take away the guilt from not having, because you can create it.
Yeah.
Your life can change in a blink. The guilt from just not having or having, or it's hard, that guilt. Right? I remember there's been times where, Dov and I have created beautiful things, and there's people in our lives that don't have it. I remember being there, and it's like I can't do enough to help, and you feel that guilt come up, and then you have to clear that guilt, because for you to be that light, for you to be in all of your power and say like, hey, I was there and now I'm here, and it's okay, and you can do it, and we can do it. Yeah, being aligned in that love and being aligned and being able to create all of that really gives other people hope.
Yeah.
It gives other people hope.
I like what Nicole was saying, and for me, I look at it in, a synopsis to think about. It's not that, it's when our happiness is contingent on those external realities.
Yes.
That it breaks down. On the other hand, it's okay to experience them. It's okay to have them. You can create them. They're also not the root of evil. They're not, that evil's in us. These are neutral things.
Yes.
Right? To have the car that you want or not worry about your bills, or to have your partner, or to have flow, or to have all that stuff, that's not the root of anything, right? The evil, the response that we attach to it is in us. Everything else is just flow. And if it's not flowing, then we're not in our alignment. And we can do whatever we want with that, whatever that means to you. When I was thinking about your mission for a lot of you guys, maybe you want to open a store. Maybe you want to serve people. Maybe you do Reiki. Maybe you are a doctor. Maybe there's so many different things, and you want to be able to be who you are. You don't want to be limited by things that are external to you. And so leaving these ideas that you can't receive what you want. And so again, that difference between materialism and abundance, or Nicole used different words, but for me it's just that you can experience it, and you can feel real joy and peace and alignment when you have it as a symptom, and you experience it as a symptom of your aligned energy, and not as something that you're reaching towards to make your happiness contingent on. Completely. Right? So again, it's a symptom. So when you are in lack, it is going to create all these symptoms of separation, of you not being connected to your partner, you not be connected to your twin, to yourself, to your self-worth. Things are going to go wrong, all of that. And when you're in a state of alignment, when you're in a state of connectedness, when you're willing to receive, then you're going to see in all these areas. And if you have one area that's clogged up, take a look at it. That's where your energy is stuck. And for me, all of these things are always interconnected. And this was a big one for Nicole and I, and we had to work really hard, and we work at different levels, because the last thing I want to say is that a lot of times we'll talk to you guys and you'll be like, wow, I've been working on this for so long, why is it coming up again? Because there are different layers.
Yep.
It's like a cake, right? And there are different layers of that cake. And you're gonna have to go to a different place with it. And so if it comes up again, don't say to yourself, I've already done something on this. You have evolved to the next level of your life.
Yes.
And on that next level, like a video game, not saying life is a video game, don't confuse what I said, but like video games or any kind of game, when you get to the next level, there's a new level of challenge. And so there might be another layer of what you had experienced. And life is this perpetual, continued cycle of evolution and expansion at each layer, at each level, right? So give yourself a break, release the judgment. And if you're saying, I've done so much work, I'm tired, right? A slight perspective change can release that, because it is not going to stop. We are constantly in a road of evolution. And our mind, our belief systems really block us and make it feel heavier sometimes. So you guys are doing amazing. We hope that this was helpful. And if you are new to us, please make sure that you subscribe, And this is part of the Raw series. So if this is your first Raw, make sure you go backwards,
Hey.
check them all out. We're so excited to be with you guys.
We love you guys so much.
We have some exciting stuff coming up.
Yeah, this new moon for a lot of you is taking you right into your head and going through all this stuff in the mind and with your emotions. And so what I would say to you is be easy with yourself. This is part of the process. Dov was talking about like when we go to the next level, sometimes before we go to the next level, we go really deep into our stuff. Usually we go really deep into our stuff. And so it may not feel great right now, and it's okay. Like that it's just showing you, it's teaching you, it's taking you into the depth. If you could just take deep breaths through it, allow yourself to be in it instead of fighting it, and know that you're not gonna stay in it, and that you're gonna get through it, because we always do. And you have that much power to do so, and we go through it with you. So if you don't think that I'm not going through some deep parts right now, but still able to tap into some joy and peace while going through it, you have access to that. We love you so much. We're so grateful that we get to experience this journey at this moment and this time with you guys. So we love you.
I love you guys. Take care.
Bye.